Well, congratulations. How are you feeling after that win?
Cool, feeling awesome. Just for the record, the media guys, I appreciate what you guys do. Getting to talk to you after fights is like a sign of victory, so you guys have naturally become like a very positive, good omen. So always honored to be here. Thank you.
Well, I like that because we're not always a positive omen for everyone.
Yeah, so I've heard.
So where would you rank that performance just amongst some of your most recent?
Man, I got to say, top 3, beating Cowboy number 1, easy. And then probably my UFC debut, number 2, but this number 3. I got a lot of respect and admiration for Tim Means. For those who don't know, I watched him fight live in Houston about 10 years ago. So I was maybe 21, 22 years old, like maybe 1-0, 2-0 pro. And I watched him take out like Houston's number 1 prospect, the guy I had trained with, and the guy gave me a lot of trouble. And Tim finished him and got re-signed to the UFC. So I always like not only thought highly of him, but I was always like a little... I don't want to say intimidated, but like if I had to fight him, I wouldn't have been thrilled about it. And sure enough, you know, just as a man and as a martial artist, getting this fight was like a task for me to effectively level up against as a human and a martial artist. And I was ready for the task. I trained my butt off. Now, to be fair, every fight camp has been like maximized in terms of preparation, but this one was a bit more personal for my own reasons. And getting the victory, it was more meaningful than just a win.
Can you explain to us what you mean by that, by why it was so personal for you this time?
Yeah, because normally I don't care who I fight. You know, even back in my non-UFC days, I would fight anyone they would ever offer. And even in the UFC, I couldn't imagine someone they'd want me to fight and I wouldn't be excited. And this match for Tim Means, it was just like when I took it, it was like there was like a feeling of caution opposed to a feeling of excitement. And then I knew, if I could get the win and conquer this task, that it would be, quite valuable on a personal level, and certainly it was.
Do you prefer to fight someone that gives you that feeling or gives you an excitement feeling, or maybe even somebody who you have a negative feeling, like, I hate that guy? Which one of those 3 kind of like amps you up more?
I don't think I hate anybody. That's not really an emotion I feel often, thankfully. But no, exciting fights are the best fight. I've never been given a matchup where I wasn't like immediately excited. Like when I got the Simmelsberger matchup, I was like pumped for that one because he likes to stand and bang. When I got wind, I'd maybe fight in Pons on a few days' notice. Like that was exciting. And don't get me wrong, I was excited for the Means fight, but like there was just like this little like feeling of it just wasn't as happy, if that's not the right word. It wasn't as like exciting as it normally was. But I do like the vets. If I could get matched up, I like to get the guys who have 20 plus wins, 10 plus fights in the UFC. Now, granted, I'll fight some newcomers all day long, but just as a martial artist, fighting other seasoned martial artists is it's just more gratifying. As a martial artist myself.
So now that you've been in there with him, did it live up to your expectations? Was it better? Was it worse? Like, what were the feelings like in there?
It was better than I thought it would be. I always anticipate the guys to be big and strong and just brutal every time. Ever since I was, I think I did this as like a coping mechanism. And even my striking coach, he's been with me for all 16 years. But every time I would get a matchup and the guys were big, I'd always envision them to be even bigger. So when I see him at weigh-ins, I'm like, oh, coach, he's not that big. And he'd be like, he's kind of big, but whatever makes it work for you. And no, Tim was good. He had a good chin. I remember I cracked him early with the right hand, caused some blood. I head kicked him, and he just smiled at me. So his durability was there. I knew he'd be crafty. He did flurry at the end of the first round. I'm not particularly excited about that, but I was 100% with it. Was cool to do some grappling. I was curious to see how he'd feel on the ground, and now just excited. I got to stand and bang. Got to finish without having to be the one to initiate the wrestling. It's kind of like first guy who shoots, in my mind, loses, and it was cool.
I apologize if you answered this on the broadcast. You have somebody you want to fight in mind? Sometimes we can't hear the interviews. So.
Yeah, sure. So again, nothing. This is one of those call-outs. One, we've already talked about it, but I get nothing but respect for the guy. I'm a fight fan as much as I'm a fighter. I started training because I was a fan of watching the UFC fights. So like any fans watching, like I am one of you. I just trained a lot more than the average person. But Bryan Barberena had like tagged me on something a while back, asking to get matched up in San Antonio, and I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. And he was like, sounds like a fun fight. And he likes to stand and trade. I like to stand and trade. His last 2 opponents, took him down and squeezed on him. I'm going to stand in the middle of the octagon and bang it out. So that would be, I think, just a fun fight. But I never get fixated on any one name. If Sean Shelby wants to do it, awesome. Sean Shelby's the man. If not, I'll fight whoever.
What about a time frame or a location in mind?
I don't care. We'll do it in 2 weeks if he wants to. I'm always down. I'm always training. I mean, that's why I can take these short notice fights, because I run a gym, and like if I teach class, I'm not gonna train live. You know what I mean? Like that's just what you do. It's what I do. So I'm just excited to go again.